welcome back to the Suzuki main stage. Now we're really excited to have the live final of the eSAILING Winter Club Championships. We have the 10 regional finalists ready to battle it out on the virtual racecourse. So I'll hand you over to Mark Jardine and Stuart Bithell, who'll be your commentators for this exciting final.
Hello and welcome to the RYA eSAILING Winter Final. We've had 780 sailors who've taken part from 71 clubs, and this has been whittled down to 11 competitors who will compete over 6 races in a variety of boats. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Stu Bithell from Lanzarote, who's out there 49er training. How are you, Stu?
I'm very good, thank you, Mark.
And looking forward to this. You're no stranger to the virtual racing with the Lockdown Cup and, of course, the great Splashes victory over the Australians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's certainly certainly good to get one over on the Australians. Yeah, like you say, back in lockdown, it always feels like a good victory over those guys. So, yeah, super happy and super excited. Look like the getting some serious FOMO looking at the the video just there. So it looks like everyone's getting ready to go, and yeah, should be some good racing.
Here we are with just a minute to go until the start. We are in the 49ers for the first race. The order of the races, there will be 49ers in race 1, Lasers in race 2, NACRA 17s race 3, Stars race 4, Formula 18 in race 5, and then finishing off in J70s. 6 races with 1 discard. And the 49er, a class you know well, Stu.
Well, absolutely, in real life. Generally, when I'm playing this game, though, I'm not too good in the 49er. I prefer the J70.
And we've got a real lineup of quality sailors here. Some who in the eSailing world have been champions in the UK and competed on the world stage. So we know that the standard is going to be high here with just 15 seconds to go to the start. And everybody lining up. Looks like for a bit of pin end bias there, Stu.
Yeah, it looks like a few boats getting in the mix down at the pin end. Yeah, let's see. 1 second and they're off. They're off.
It looks like a very, very tight start there with just 1 boat over. Very much heading off to that left-hand side, the far side of the course. And 1 breakaway. Now everybody going across onto port tack. And I'm not sure what venue this is. All I can see is blue sea. So assume it's not one of our very inshore venues. We might be able to get Adam McGovern to tell us where we're actually sailing. Barbados we are. Lovely conditions out there. And so here they are heading upwind. We're trying to make these races as short as possible. But the locations now, Virtual Regatta actually uses the wind data which comes in from the grid files. So Adam has to find locations which have the wind to hold the races. Virtual racing is becoming more and more real. And Stu, here we can see Paul McCombie coming up to the starboard ley line. What are your thoughts? Stu, can you hear us there?
Sorry, yeah, just struggling with internet. I think the island internet's not playing ball, but...
Well, you're all the way from Lanzarote.
Yeah,
We've just seen
I'm
Paul
back
McCombie
now.
just coming up on the starboard ley line there. What are your thoughts with his approach on this beat?
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I just missed parts of that, but he's he looks like he's looking for a right-hand shift. Currently on the scores, he looks like he's down a little bit towards the back. So yeah, it's looking more like the guys coming in from the left. Actually, I can see now that they're coming across on port with some good pressure and good lifted tack. So yeah, I'm thinking this port ley line is a place to be.
And we can see in the lead there is Vit Ronstan. Now, this is Deja Vu, which we might have seen in previous guises of virtual racing. Just rounding the leeward mark first there, Mike O'Donovan, who is eSailing Nations Cup champion and a 2020 eSailing World Championship bronze medal to his name. So not really a surprise to see him in the lead there.
Yeah, you look at that CV and it's not surprising that he's really grabbed the bull by the horns there in his first race of the regatta and already looking at a 36-meter lead. So looking very good. He's getting chased down by Stargazer.
That's Thomas Goodman. who's from the Royal Air Force Sailing Association, living in Glasgow, studying naval architecture at Strathclyde, and currently learning to swim an RS 300, a very unstable boat. Have you ever had a go in one of those, Stu?
On a what, sorry?
An RS 300.
I missed that.
The RS 300 is
I've never
quite
had the
similar in
pleasure
zippiness to the Moths, I would say.
Yeah, I've never actually had a pleasure with an RS 300, but I've heard they're good fun boats to sail.
Now, real gains there downwind by Stargazer Thomas Goodman, and he's actually taken the lead. No, and then back there we have Mike O'Donovan back in the lead, really tight between them, not an inch to choose, but Stargazer with a penalty. Really tight racing there at the top. And in third place, we've got Splash. And Splash is Chris Smallwood from Budworth Sailing Club, representing the Northwest, of course. And he's an RS 200 sailor and taking up windsurfing as well. And I've done a bit over lockdowns, as quite a few of us got back into the windsurfing during those lockdowns. So it's really gaining popularity. But the top three there, still we can see Mike O'Donovan in the lead. That penalty costing Stargazer dear at that leeward mark. Now, what can Stargazer and Splash? And we can see Cavan Fyans has just come into second place, a real gain by him. Ballyholme Yacht Club sailor. And in 2021 ranked 5th in the UK rankings in the eSAILING. So doing exceptionally well to get up into the top three for this race. But still now with a 100-metre lead, we've got Mike O'Donovan really going well. I've got Adam McGovern here as well, who's setting up the courses. Adam, what's your thoughts on the racing so far?
Yeah, so it's really close so far. I think Paul got clearly caught out on that right-hand side up the first beat, unfortunately. The shift didn't go his way, but yeah, it's going to Formbook at the minute with our Nations Cup captain, Mike, out in the lead here.
It was quite noticeable on that first beat with Paul. He banged the opposite corner from everybody else. Sometimes, of course, that can turn out smelling of roses, but not on this occasion.
Yeah, no, it was looking good at the start, but then that shift came in and it just sent him back. And then Stargazer was doing really well and then picked up a penalty at the leeward mark, which is he's just picked up another one as I've spoken there. Cursed him there. So no, really close. And yeah, seeing Cavan's come up to second place there. So a bit of a battle there for the podium.
There is definitely a commentator's curse. As soon as I mentioned Stargazer had taken the lead, that red exclamation mark signifying the penalty just came straight up. And you did it again there, Adam. He must be cursing you.
Yeah, no, and he's mid-pack now. I think we'll stop talking about him. He won't pick up any more penalties.
And virtual regatta, very similar to sailing. When you're in the lead and you have that clear air, it really does make a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's massive, especially in these faster boats. It's just about getting into the pressure. And downwind, it's about not getting that bad air from any of the other boats, because you can see on the 49er that wind shadow is massive on these boats.
And Stu, we can see here Mike O'Donovan coming down to the finish line in race one, and this looks like it's going to be the first victory for him.
Yeah, it's an absolute test. Like Adam says, he's managed to get away from the fleet, let them fight it out with each other and just sail away for a nice victory in race one. So happy days.
And Cavan Fyans coming down in second place. A really good comeback hit by him. Wasn't involved in the top three in the first lap, but that second beat was superb.
Oh, he played that second beat perfectly to move up there, and yeah, it's took full advantage. But he might lose out here on the finish.
Really tight stuff.
Oh, no.
Second, Splash third place. That's Chris Smallwood in third place. And in fourth, we've got Justin GP14. That's Justin Smith from Tynemouth Sailing Club, GP14 sailor. Adam, you must know him.
I do. I used to root for him. We won the Scottish Championships together.
But there you go.
We went our separate ways. He didn't listen to me very often. Probably a good thing.
Well, it's
kind of ironic he's come fourth, because is it not his 40th birthday this year?
It is, I believe. He's turning the big 4-0. He'll be in line for the vaccine before I am, that's for sure.
We're all looking forward to that. And Stu, out in Lanzarote, you managing to get a good bit of sunshine and sailing in?
Yeah, we're super fortunate to have got ourselves out here to do some training. It wasn't actually easy, but we managed to get here, and we've got some fantastic conditions, very similar to what we're expecting out in Tokyo. So it's been good, really good. So super happy with that.
Yeah, incredibly difficult time to get your training in for the whole British sailing team. So superb that you can actually get a good bit of time on the water when the rest of us aren't really allowed to. So just slightly jealous here. Okay, we're in the countdown. We're just about to start the second race, and we're out in lasers. Oh, should I say the Ilkas now? And this is the Ilka, of course, the latest name for the Kirby Torch or the Weekender or whatever else you want to call it. And we are going to be setting up again. What are the different tactics when it's a newer boat in the virtual regatta? What are the different tactics sailing an Ilka compared to the 49er and the different pace? Adam.
So it's an interesting, they've made some tweaks to this boat recently. So you might see a lot of pumping up wind in these boats. And you won't see them just pressing the automatic tack button. They might bear off going into the tack and over-rotate it as well. So you'll see it. Yeah, Tom's just going to reset because it took you to my boat. But yeah, you'll see some interesting manoeuvres upwind. And downwind, it's all about the wind shadow. It's going to be crazy downwind, and that's where it's won and lost. But interestingly, you'll see the smart people don't give other people penalties at the top of the course, because if you do, that person just goes behind you and gives you dirty air for the rest of the leg. So you'll see the tactics really play out at the end of the run in these boats.
That old thing of making sure that you've got friends at the windward mark if you've got people behind you so you don't get that cover. And Stu, that must be something that plays out a lot when you're out racing, just making sure you haven't made too many enemies out on the course.
Yeah, there's not many occasions I can think of where it's good to have enemies on the race course.
And here we are, just 10 seconds to go. Everybody lining up again for a pin end start. Looks exactly the place to be. And you can really slow it down in the lasers and get right on the line and then just pull in the main sheet and pump off the line. Any of the laser squad out with you in Lanzarote?
Yeah, I think Elliot Hansen is out here. I say I think because I've not actually seen him yet, but I've heard he's here. They like to go train in the bigger waves than us, so probably sailing at different times.
And we're here with Jester. Is Jester going to make it across these two?
Oh, not quite.
That really was a tight cross. It looked it all the way. So, yeah, no surprises, really. He got the penalty there, and he'd be doing a few gel coat repairs, I think, if he'd done that in real life.
Yeah, it's an interesting race course at the minute. There's kind of breeze on each side of the course, slightly light up the middle. So I guess who's going to be brave enough to push to one side and take the opportunity?
We've got a potential game changer here. We've just got a disconnection by our series leader, Deja Vu.
Now we have one discard, so he can only afford one of these. But this really is going to put the cat amongst the pigeon. He was so comfortable with that 100-meter lead in race one. And so he must be cursing his internet provider right now, Adam.
It might be his internet provider or his housemates. I know he's at uni, and he said there's a lot of people in his house today, so he might be going downstairs telling them all to turn off the computers and the Netflix and whatnot.
Now, we do have the ability to bring sailors in on this chat every so often, and I believe we might have, say, Paul McCombie. Can we have him on the line?
See, he might be in full focus mode, but we'll see how it goes.
Paul, you're in 7th place on this at the moment, but only 24 meters separating those top 7. How's it feeling so far?
Bit busy, bit stressy, very bad start, but we're getting there. I'm just trying to work out which way the wind's going to flick next, and I have a horrible feeling it's not going to go my way.
Well, the rarest of things has happened while I've talked to you. You've actually gained a place as we talk. Usually, when I bring someone in on the commentary, they drop down the leaderboard like a stone. So I'm feeling 18 meters now, only from the lead. It's really tight. And coming in on port tack, what tactics are you going to be using coming into that ley line?
So one difference between a virtual event and a real one is that sometimes you're better off sailing to a starboard tack boat and accepting the penalty. Probably not going to happen this time. I will end up on starboard at the ley line. But yeah, sometimes on the really big events when there's some 20 plus boats, then there'll be a 100-meter long queue. So you just smash through the fleet, take the damage, and pick it up downwind.
And you've put your favourite eSailing snack as mega nachos with extra jalapenos. Any today?
Eaten, digested, and that's all done now. So it's time to focus on.
In that case, I'm quite glad I'm not in the same room as you. So here we are coming into the windward mark, and yet not too bad at all there. Still in about 7th place, but really, really tight as the boat's coming in the top 3 there. We've got Von Pigeon and Splash in the lead. And Von Pigeon, that is Rick Codling from Wolverston Project. And in the UK rankings in the eSailing, 13th in 2021. And only started racing virtual regatta last year. And done lots of sailing for fun and quite a bit during lockdown. And came 4th in the Sailability RYA eSailing multi-class final when he won the 2020 Hansa Gull VR Christmas Series. We can see him there, nice 24-meter lead downwind and beautiful clear air there. Must be loving that.
All been quite nice to each other, yeah.
Yeah, they're actually being really kind to each other. Great leeward mark rounding. And there on the other buoy, got Muttley going round and Justin GP14. Muttley there, that's Gary Bullock from Maidenhead Sailing Club in 2nd place. And the racing here, extremely tight. The top 5 still only separated by 30 meters. Much, much slower pace compared to the 49er racing.
Oh, we got a penalty.
The definite penalty there for Muttley.
Coming across on port. Couldn't quite cross Justin. I'm sure Justin's got going to have to get a good lead over him there for the run. Otherwise, I would imagine that Muttley's going to try and take his wind.
Yeah, a bit of payback coming on the run.
And you can see Justin just tacked across there, didn't want to get hung out on that port ley line, but due to that has ended up a bit in the wind shadow of Von Pigeon there. And Splash, you can see also just bearing down on him. This could cost Justin quite dearly, especially since it looks like we have Cavan Fyans coming across on starboard tack into him as well. And there you can see Justin losing out in that dirty wind.
It looks like Splash picked up a penalty there, though. Chris mustn't have, somehow got a penalty.
But keeping it clean out at the front, Von Pigeon going exceptionally well. Rick Codling, and this is a superb race for him. And they're all trying to get the best points possible with Mike O'Donovan, VIT Ronstan out of this race. The big, big news going into it as the internet connection or his university mates failed him. Stu, what are your thoughts so far as they round this last windward mark?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it again. Kind of the leader's got his nose out in front and managed to sail away, which is looking like another convincing victory. But I guess the real battle is just back in the pack a little bit. And, you know, like you say, you've got 5 races to count out of these 6 races. So, you know, it's all going to be about getting your 3rds and 4ths and getting plenty of them and then adding a first to that position. So, yeah, it's all about consistency. It's early days, but yeah, I'm sure Von Pigeon is going to be pretty happy with 1 point on the board.
And Von Pigeon absolutely running away with this. It's superb sailing, and that windward mark just kept himself clear of that hubbub going round the mark and just off and away. And there it is, the victory for Von Pigeon. Rick there just taking that win. And a really tight battle now, though, for 2nd place, Jester and Cavan Fyans. Real jibing match going on there. Really tight stuff. Penalty for Jester.
He just had it, I think.
Oh, I just got over the line. Both with 16 seconds behind the leader, and 4th, 5th and 6th all on 21 seconds. Extremely tight racing. You really can't separate them. And they're just 35 seconds separating the entire fleet. But all of them will just be thinking, fantastic not to have Mike O'Donovan in the fleet. And Mike hopefully we'll have back in for the next race. It was such a turn up for the books.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the results now, to see who's managed to string 2 races together. So
we've got Adam Parry, who's compiling the results. It'll take him a minute or so to get them all ready, but we will see after that race, where we know that the race 1 winner didn't manage to compete in that race in the lasers. His thighs will be feeling a little bit better from that, but apart from that, he'll be cursing the fact that he wasn't on the water for that. And his discard, that's the equivalent of having an OCS out on the water. It is your race that just does not count. Okay, so let's get set for the 3rd race. And this time we're going to be out in the NACRA 17s. Another change, getting out into the foiling catamarans now.
Yeah, the NACRA 17 is an interesting boat to sail, because you can get them on the foils, sometimes upwind, but mostly downwind, and really get the things ripping. And it's actually quite difficult to pass them downwind because it goes so quick. So I would imagine there's going to be a lot to play for in this start, and the first decision to see who's going to be in the mix at the top.
It really is a case of getting clean away with that start. Here we are with the results so far. And there, Cavan Fyans, who's got a 2nd and a 3rd. Exactly what you were talking about, Stu. That consistency has put him already 4 points in the lead.
Exactly, and that's that's great start for him. But you see, even in 2nd place, James with counting a 7th place in 2nd place. So it's really tight racing out there. And again,
well, if you look from 2nd to 6th is separated by a single point there, just to show just how tight this will be. And just one slip up there by Cavan is going to cost him dear and put him back into the pack. So let's see how the NACRA 17s go. And hopefully, Adam, we can get into the starting sequence for this 3rd race in the NACRA 17s. You can see just how quick they are here. And yesterday we had the Concours d'Elegance and Ben Saxton, who was the 2016 Rio representative in the NACRA 17 class. He was judging with me, and we had a NACRA 15 as one of the boats that had entered that, which of course he liked the look of. But we chose something a little bit slower. And the big news is Ben Saxton may be a new convert to the solo fleet after the solo Mins won the Concours d'Elegance. Here we're just going into the race. One of the tricks Virtual Regatta loves to pull when you're in spectator mode is turning you into a boat. And here we've got back into the sequence, and we can see we're now back in spectator mode. 30 seconds to the start. Stu, where would you be lining up?
Well, just looking at the line bias, it looks like a tiny bit of starboard end line bias, so up towards this committee boat. But like I said, there's a bit of gains to be had from getting free, getting fast on the start, even foiling if you're really good, and then whip it up onto the upwind angle and get your nose out in front that way. So we'll see if anyone manages to execute that.
So just 2 seconds to go. Let's see who comes off this line. And a couple of boats early there on port. Just going to re-round there. There we can see straight away the ones that got clean away. Exactly what you were saying, Stu, were off.
Yeah, it looks like Jester had the best start there, and that was out the middle of the line. So yeah, it must have been fully up to speed. Managed to get his tack and cross in, and now it looks like he's heading towards good pressure again. So yeah, it looks like the nose is in front. Let's see if he can hold on to it.
But up at the top 2 places, we've got Muttley. That is Gary Bullock, and Justin GP14. That's Justin Smith. They went off the line on starboard, and they're minimising the tacks, which seems to be a really good tactic anytime you're in a catamaran, eh, Stu?
Yeah, absolutely. With these faster boats, you tend to lose a bit more distance going through the manoeuvres. So, yeah, in the ideal world, you'd minimise those. But it looks like it's quite patchy out there with, some bigger holes and bigger gusts. So it might be worth doing the odd manoeuvre to keep in the pressure. So we'll see how it pans out.
And Muttley there we can see having to do a few bearaways, made it across the front of one boat there, but Soap Dish has gone into the lead. That is Mike Way. And they're coming up towards that starboard ley line. We can see it, the dotted line just at the top left of the screen. If you can tack on that and keep clear air, then it's looking good for him. Very nice tack there on top of Jester. This is looking very promising for Soap Dish. One boat coming in on port fast, but it's going to be caught in the back, and Soap Dish is away round the windward mark. And immediately as they accelerate downwind, you can see the speeds pick up fast. Now, downwind tactics, when you're doing your current
17 knots. Yeah, so the wind is not coming directly from behind you here, so it's quite hard to get on top of each other's wind going downwind. So looks like Soap Dish was one of the first boats on the foils there, 17 knots, and they're just sailing away again.
Now off at 23 knots down this run. And we have actually one of our competitors today is actually the fastest e-sailer ever in the sailing in the AC75s. They managed, it was Caffin Fyans managed to record 50.8 knots in an AC75, the highest speed ever recorded in virtual regatta. So that must have been a real moment in virtual regatta history for him. And we can see him there. We're just on board with him, and he's taken the lead. It's the commentator's curse has gone.
Yeah, what's most interesting here is Cavan is you know, on the lead on the board there. He's up to first, and he's going to be adding to his good results so far. So he's looking like it's real nice together. Oh, and I come together with Soap Dish. So yeah, it's all change at the top.
But it was Soap Dish who got the penalty there. And we do have VIT Ronstadt back in the game for this one, Mike O'Donovan. They'll probably be cursing me and hoping that just by saying that it doesn't make his connection fail again. But only in 5th place, clearly rattled after losing that race and knowing that every single race result counts from now on. It's going to be interesting to see. He's moved up to 4th already, as to whether he can pull out a good result from the bag there.
Yeah, and it looks like Jester's got a real nice tack on top of Cavan, forcing him out to do an extra 2 manoeuvres. So it'll be interesting how well they come into windward mark. It's going to be very tight from Cavan and Jester.
There's a good few on port coming in as well. Wow, that was a tight rounding there, and they're neck and neck at the front of the fleet there. Cavan, Fyans, Jester 553. That's James Adams from Landedveg Sailing Club that I grew up sailing at when my dad was in the army, and a lovely reservoir there. I actually sailed bosuns there, beautiful boats. Have you ever sailed a bosun, Stu?
I don't think I have, no.
Well, you're a lucky man.
I've sailed some flow boats, but never a bosun.
And so here we have Jester 553 now built a 34-meter lead. A really good move there above Caffin Fyans, who's again putting in those top 3 results.
Oh,
let's see. Oh, and he takes the win.
Close finish.
The delta 0 seconds between first and second, and just 1 second back, getting over that problem in race 2. VIT Ronstadt, Mike O'Donovan, 3rd place. So getting back into the game. And there we can see just then 3 seconds. Look at that split. 0.1 of a second between the top 2 there. You don't get tighter racing than that.
I actually thought Jester had actually messed up there a little bit on the finish line, but I thought Cavan had attacked the bias of the finish line quite well, but no, he's just held on by the skin of his teeth.
Incredible racing there to have it that tight a finish. Do you ever see 0.1 of a second splits on the racing with your virtual sailing?
I don't think I've seen many of those, no.
And in the end, VIT Ronstadt, Mike O'Donovan came back to just 1.3 seconds behind the leader. Must have just been nerves at the beginning of that race, knowing that he couldn't put a foot wrong with his discard already gone. It's going to be interesting to see
I
the
think
top.
that's a very impressive race.
But the overall
Pull
table,
through the fleet like that was
looking good there.
impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. And next up, we're going to be racing in the stars. So it's back to the slower boats. It's the dinghy show. Yes, this does have a keel, but sails pretty much like a dinghy with runners and hiking over the side. And so we're going to be setting up for the fourth race here. If we do get the results from Adam Parry, we'll give them to you on screen at the same time. Now we're just setting up the race.
It's going to be similar to the lasers. Everyone's going to arrive at the windward mark very close together. It's going to be a downwind tactical battle, I think, in this race.
And the stars very much hold their momentum through the tacks, but it's the downwind, the getting each other's wind. That is a huge sail area to have on top of you. So you've got to make sure you've got that clear air downwind, Stu.
Absolutely, yeah. And these things pretty much point directly downwind. So yeah, really easy to capture someone's wind and almost advantageous to be coming from behind. So yeah, like I say, downwind race for me, this one.
It's going to be very interesting. That windward mark as well. It's likely we're going to see everybody packed together there. And that tactic of coming in on port and just accepting the penalty, do you think that can put you into bad habits when it comes to your real racing, Stu?
I really hope not, mate. I mean, I know the amount of people that play this game, and I think if everyone adopts that strategy in real life, we could have a few issues with our insurance premiums going up.
Yeah, you'll find the insurance companies will probably be cursing this game if that is the case. Here we are, just 13 seconds to the start. Look pretty spread across the line here.
Yeah,
so there's a bit of pin end bias.
Yeah, so what I can see is a little bit of pin bias, but up towards the right-hand side of the course, maybe a little right-hand shift and pressure. So, yeah, we can see Von Pigeon really attacking that right-hand side, looking to get into that shift first and see if he can convert that and get back across the fleet.
It was everybody spread along the line, completely clean. It was one of those textbook starts that the photographers love at events. So we'll see how this plays out. But that windward mark is going to be absolutely packed solid. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I'm expecting at least 3 or 4 penalties at the windward mark, and let's see who gets them. Could be carnage.
And with the stars, they've got a really quite spindly rig. In real life, if you had that, it would be mast flying everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're beautiful boats, and yeah, you certainly don't want to crash them in real life.
And in normal years, the Star Sailors League gets them out sailing at Nassau. Have you ever had a chance to take part in that, Stu?
I've never actually had an invitation to that one. No, it's the sort of thing that is right on my street, though. I'd love a go. Yeah, certainly racing against some of the guys that get invited to that. So yeah, it'd be really cool.
Well, we'll see who's listening to this, and hopefully something will be in the post for you there, Stu.
Yeah, mate, good work. I like that.
Okay, we've got Serenity Zero. This is a new leader, Will Hitchman, who's in the lead at the moment. Followed by Soap Dish, Mike Way, who we saw there in race 3, and then Paul McCombie up there as well.
Yeah, so it looks like the top 2 boats have actually just snuck away from the fleet, which wasn't what I was expecting. But I think the carnage is yet to come. Everyone coming in on port.
Agreed. We've got everybody, it seems, only 1-2 penalties rounding that mark. Oh, here they come. Here come the penalties as the pack comes round. But importantly, look at that. Cavan Fyans is down in 9th place with a penalty, our leader overall, and also VIT Ronstan. That is Mike O'Donovan is down there as well. They are going to have to mount one huge comeback here. Stu, have we got you back?
Yeah, I think I'm back. Sorry.
It seemed your internet connection went just as everybody was rounding the windward mark. The pack there, it was all looking so clean. Then suddenly the exclamation marks appeared as the penalties started pouring in. But Soap Dish in the lead there.
Yeah, it looks like they've got a nice lead. Kept some clear breeze down the run, and yeah, away. Looks like Cavern's managed to pull back a couple of places. I think it's all about getting around these bottom marks clean now.
They've still got quite a comeback to do after those first 3 brilliant races. Down in 11th place, Cavan finds. This is not a usual position we'd see him in after the first 3 races. So what is going on board there? Problem with the runner, maybe? A little bit of weed on the keel?
In a jibe or something.
Now, interestingly, he's taken a line just beneath that port ley line. If he can keep clear air there, could be a nice little approach there.
Yeah, it's looking really tight in the middle of the pack here.
Could Cavan Fyans make a big comeback here? Soap Dish away in the lead there. That's Mike Way from eSAILING Club. He first bought an International 14 for 50 quid at the age of 14, taught himself to sail, and then graduated to a mirror. That seems a bit the opposite way around from what you'd normally do, Stu.
Yeah, that certainly wasn't the route me and Adam took, that's for sure. We were mirror men from the beginning.
Oh yeah, we had some great races at Hollingworth in the mirror. Usually me following Stu round. That's the way it was. So I've just been looking at the results. I think we'll have a look at them after this. But I know going into this race, Cavan was leading the way with Jester in second and Mike Deja Vu in third. So they're all actually struggling a little bit in this race. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And after this race, the first and only discard kicks in as well.
And there you can see Cavan finds, unfortunately, in 11th place. So how many points lead did he have?
We'll get Adam Parry to share the results afterwards, but I think it was fairly tight. But he had a 3-point lead, I think, looking at it now. So he had 3 points going into that, but this is definitely going to be his discard.
This is really painful for him. But Soap Dish, Mike Way, a brilliant result, 158 metres. He's just streaming away with this one, Stu.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we've seen it get his nose in front and he's gone. But what's interesting is this finish now. There's 6 boats right next to each other with a little bit of right-hand favour on the start line, finish line, sorry. So, yeah, this is going to be within seconds of the next few boats.
They're all coming in a line. It looks like Justin GP14, that's Justin Smith, just taking second place. Paul McCombie third. Serenity Zero, Will Hitchman, just finishing there in fourth, followed by Splash, Chris Smallwood in 5th place. And there, Von Pigeon again, Rick Cudling in 6th place. But our previous leader, not a great race. Let's scroll down and take a look.
Well, I set up the next race. Is it worth bringing Cavan in to see what went wrong in that race, our series leader?
Cavan, have we got you on the line? What happened, Cavan?
That first beat, I was getting bounced the whole way up between Mike and Jester. Didn't go well for any of us.
It looked like you were making comebacks every so often, but then you'd land yourself in trouble again, or the wrong side of a shift, or into the dirty air. How come you couldn't make your way up the fleet?
A lot of dirty air in the middle of the fleet. As I say, I was going back and forth between Jester and Mike, and all 3 of us just kept tacking back and forth. Lee Bow off the other way, Lee Bow off the other way, and it was slowing all of us down. I mean, the 3 of us kind of came around the first mark at the back of the pack anyway. In the stars, it's if you're not out clear in front, it's downhill from there if you can't get away.
It goes to show. Sorry, Stu, go for it.
Yeah, what's the plan in the next race, Cavan?
Try and win.
Like it.
The old go fast and try and finish at the top.
Yeah, like it.
So we've got some results ready. Shall we bring them up?
And there we can see still just in the lead, but that had to discard that star race, funnily enough, with that 10th place. so on 7 points. But there we can see Jester 553. That's James Adams in second place on 10 points. And it's really tight. Third place, Justin Smith representing the Northeast, just a point behind. And then Mike O'Donovan with, of course, that disaster in the laser race when the connection failed. But he's managed to discard that now in fourth place. And here we go into race 5. Formula 18.
Unfortunately, was over the line in the race after that as well, which is why he was so far back. I think him and Paul were the two boats that were called over and had to go back. So he set himself a challenge today, that's for sure.
So actually amazing to be where he is in the results. And we're back into the fast cats for race 5, the Formula 18s. Stu, have you done much cat racing at all?
I have actually, yeah. I did a couple of years with John Gimpson in the Tornado class in the 2008 cycle, but we were a bit younger then, not quite at the top of the fleet, and they actually took that boat out of the Olympics, which then forced me and John to move on. So yeah, he's obviously back in Anacra now and doing really well. So world champion. But yeah, as we can see, they've just started. It's a big race. Ooh, Stargazer.
Yeah, a couple of boats over there.
Lovely.
And we can see Mike O'Donovan into the lead straight away. Superb start there. The rattled nerves from race 2 clearly over.
It's good to see Will still racing in Serenity O. I know his daughter's due to be born this weekend, so it looks like she's not been born yet, as he's still racing. But if he does disappear, we'll know where he's gone.
Amazing, and let's hope everything goes smoothly there. But thank you very much to Will's wife for holding on for the eSAILING Winter Championship final.
Yeah, Jester
Stu,
looks
also,
like
you did a little bit of Stu, you did a bit of F50 sailing as well. How was that?
Yeah, that was very, very exciting stuff. Yeah, when you were talking about the the eSAILING speed record, I was like, I bet he wasn't as scary as doing it for real.
You, of course, it was in the Cows event. It was the Cows event that you hit 50 knots in the F50 for the first time. How did that feel on board?
It's hard to describe how it felt. Those boats are absolute machines, and yeah, the power that you can get from them is incredible. But yeah, doing 50 knots, you're certainly on edge. You're concentrating on your job at that point, because if things went wrong, as we saw in the racing, it can end in tears. So
yeah, we saw you with the flight control during that event. You had that windward mark rounding that didn't exactly go to plan, and we saw you spinning the height control as fast as possible. What happened there?
Yeah, for a minute there, I thought I was in a nightclub and I got myself on the decks, but no, it turned out we were, yeah, we were going around the top mark, for going from quite slow to quite fast, and a lot of things changing really quickly, and yeah, basically couldn't keep up with the rake that I needed to put on the foils, and yeah, we jumped out of the water, and as you know, Mark, what goes up has to come down, and boy, did we come down quick.
Yeah, we saw you came down hard from that one, and unfortunately that was the end of your day's racing at that point. But it was superb racing to watch.
Yeah, devastating, but thankfully no major injuries, which is always a good sign.
But yeah, from quite slow to quite fast, you were going around that windward mark at the top end of 40s, the 40s in the speed on the knots, weren't you?
Yeah.
And then down to 0.
Yeah. Like a
and here in the lead, a good lead for Mike O'Donovan, VIT Ronstan, followed by Splash. And that is Chris Smallwood in second place. And Von Pigeon is back up there. Rick Codling. And we can see Caffin Fyans in 5th place there. Another one of our overall leaders. And Jester 553 and Muttley all in the mix there. But very, very tight.
Yeah, me and Adam Parry were just talking about the results then, and most people have still got have already picked up a couple of big scores. So this regatta is going to come down to the final race, definitely. It's about, those low scores are going to be key.
It goes to show getting those starts right and keeping the clear air, absolutely key. And you must feel that, Stu, in the 49er, though, that feeling when you come off the start line, knowing you've got clear air. Is it one of those things that's hard to beat?
Better. It's one of the best feelings as a crew. You're fighting for a high lane, you're going high, your sails are in, you're working the boat high, and then the moment you got a bit of space to let the boat flatten off and get the bow down, especially on a boat like the 49er, it's a good feeling. And once you can do that, you know that you're away.
And when you don't have a great start, let's give a tip to some of the sailors out there, and you're in dirt, but you've got the option to either tack or maybe bear away and get clear air. Is it just making that decision as fast as possible?
Yeah, I think you got to make the decision as fast as possible. It does depend on the conditions you're in, because if you're on a massive lifted tack, but you're taking a little bit of bad air, it might not be so bad. But if it's a steady day and you're in bad air, then you've got to get out of there as soon as you can and basically cut your losses.
And so if you're on the lifted tack, taking a bear away, maybe get a little bit of clear air and just stay on that paying tack?
Yeah, maybe not even a bear away, maybe just eating the bad air, and kind of in the back of your head, you're thinking this is better than being on the the big header. So yeah, it's a bit of quick maths for your brain to work out.
So looking at the big picture there, making sure you're not thinking you're in a nightclub spinning the wheels. And here we are, a great recovery after that race 2 disaster for Mike O'Donovan in VIT Ronstan, 55-meter lead and coming in to take the win here in race 5. Should move him up the leaderboard. Splash in second.
From my quick maths at the minute.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go Mark.
Superb there. And Von Pigeon taking third. They'd really pulled away from the fleet there.
Yeah, I think it's this top 3 is going to be mixed up again now, because Mike had a good race there. Cavan, our series leader, solid in 5th. And Justin, who I think was sitting in 3rd, further down the fleet in this one, just finishing up 10th there. So there's going to be a change to the podium after this race, that's for sure.
Okay, we're going to go straight into the final race because we're on a tight schedule here for the timings to get it into the 1 hour allotted slot. But hopefully we'll be able to get the results up while we're in the countdown sequence for the final race, which is going to be held in J70s, which a lot of people say is the best boat to race the virtual regattas in, and something we used a lot during the Lockdown Cup and the splashes. Stu, is it your favourite e-sailing boat?
It is actually my favourite boat to race in on VR racing. I'll tell you for why, because you kind of have the slow boat tactics getting upwind, which is, a nice bit of detail on that. And then actually when you get the kayak downwind, it turns into fast boat. It's a bit of fun and you're working the asymmetric angles. So it's kind of got a bit of both worlds for me, which makes it exciting.
Well, it's going to be...
So I was going to say, Mark, I'm just setting up the race now, so the sailors will be coming in for this final race.
Do we manage to get the quick scores up there? Top 3, Adam?
Mr. Parry, our technical man, is will be working on it in the background. So hopefully, possibly, I think he's got them. He's got them ready to go. He's just put in the chat, I think. So hopefully, we'll get to see them in a second. I think here we go. Yeah, he can pull up his screen. I think in a second. He's just publishing them now to a readable version. We're just waiting for one more to enter the race before we get going.
And here we are. Cavan finds in first place, just 1 point. 1 point in it. In second place, Mike O'Donovan has recovered after that laser race. And so this is they're just a few points back. 2 boats, Jester 553, James Adams, and Splash, Chris Smallwood, representing the Northwest. Oh, this is seriously tight going into this final race. Anything could happen. Now, Adam, are we in the sequence?
We've just started now. We've got that all lined up, and I say this is going to be. This is why we wanted the J70 as the final boat, because everyone knows this boat really well, and it's the medium course, so it's quite a short course for this one. So we're going to see some tough battles here to finish it up, and we're in Marseille to finish. I've picked one that I can actually pronounce.
So in Marseille, and from a sailor's point of view, they'd love to have it wrapped up by now. But for us, from a spectator's point of view, to see it all coming down to the wire is exactly what we wanted here, Stu.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, the top two are within a point, so it's kind of who beats who out of those two. But they can't really afford to be doing that at the back of the fleet because there's going to be boats that pass them. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they've got eyes on each other or whether they're just going to go and try and win the race.
I think the energy chase, Stu, because they've got some big scores, so they can. Yeah, they're not in that luxurious position, either of them.
Unfortunately not, but look at that. Most of the fleet down towards the pin end on the go.
Yeah, Will and Von Pigeon picking the starboard end. Nice and quiet down here.
And our overall leader, Cavan Fyans, who's tacked away onto port early there. Looks to be a good move early on in the race. Nice clear air there, Stu.
Yeah, he's certainly got clear breeze there. And like you say, he's just got his nose out in front by a few metres. So he'll be looking for a bit of pressure or a little right-hand shift to hopefully take back across the middle of the fleet and get across everyone.
It's interesting, though. I think a lefty's coming in, and I think Mike's furthest out in that. So it's, I think it might be advantage Mike here.
We can see the pressure coming down the course, and there it is. Mike O'Donovan has got that pressure at the left shift and has taken the lead. And we can see Cavan, that early leader, now down into 6th place. But all change.
It's coming. There's some pressure coming at the top. It might flick back for him. We don't. Yeah, it's going to be close. Be interesting to see what the breeze does at the top here.
Now, Stu, you usually keep your nearest and dearest in the results tables close to you on that final race, but they've taken completely different sides of the course.
Yeah, it looks like they were scared of each other. So yeah, it looks like they've both had the approach of trying to win the race. And yeah, not eyes on each other, and it's looking like the IT Ronstein has managed to identify what's going to be winning up this first beat, and he looks like he's got a nice lead going into the windward mark. And as we've seen before, it's very hard to pass this man once he's out in front. So I'd say he's looking like the favourite at the moment.
But slightly over that port ley line, do you think Cavan Fyans, who's moved himself back into 2nd place, is going to be able to squeeze him there at all? Oh no, he's clear.
I think if he was Cavan, you'd be hoping he can sneak round in 2nd here, which does give him a bit of chance to try and affect.
4th. Second
on the run, but it's
extremely tight from 2nd to 6th there, but they're out in front and clear away. That's Mike O'Donovan from Stokes Bay Sailing Club representing the South. VIT Ronstein. Is this going to be a regatta winning move after the disaster that was race 2 in the laser?
It got into the pressure. Sorry, Stu.
What we do know is it's not over till it's over, because we all know the internet could give up on him, which should be fuming about.
Well, in the interest of keeping it close, let's really talk up Mike O'Donovan here. See if the commentator's curse can just put this race a little bit tighter.
Well, he is. It's interesting. He's representing the South, but he's actually Scottish as well. So he's got, he's representing Scotland and the South, I reckon, here.
Very mixed loyalties, those. And Stu, what do you think people like Cavan can do here, Stu?
I think Cavan could do with a hotline to your man's mates at university and just get him to start downloading a movie.
Yeah. Pull out the broadband socket. That'll do it.
Yeah, really struggling from here. I mean, you can see just a bit of a loose cover going up this final beat, just directly in front of him, between him and the mark. It's going to be really hard for Cavan here, but I think Cavan should be proud. He sailed a really good series as well, so it's not all bad news.
And we've got to think that Mike O'Donovan was listening to us there. Instead of splitting tacks with his nearest competitor. As you said, just put that loose cover on him, which has definitely pushed him down the fleet there into 4th place. Penalty there for Splash.
Definitely looking like the form books coming here. The blue tick sailors have moved to the front, so they earned their blue tick by being part of the winning Nations Cup team last year to win the Nations Cup, and yeah, so that's definitely showing with those three sailors out at the front.
We can see Paul McCombie there is in 2nd place representing Scotland, so alongside his fellow Scottish South of England sailor.
Yeah,
Cavan in 3rd, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, Cavan's representing he's from Northern Ireland, so representing the Irish.
This is going to be extremely tight for further down the fleet, but there Mike O'Donovan takes the win in the final race.
Yeah, I think
that's very impressive sailing, especially given he lost a race in the 2nd race. He got his discard handed to him by his mates, and yeah, what a way to come back and catch up and keep going till the end.
I don't know if we've got the ability to find out what movie they were watching, which broke his internet connection. His mates.
Hopefully he's going to join us, Mark. I've just messaged him asking him to join us on the live stream, so hopefully we'll find out what the cause of that disconnect was in a second.
There, the rest of the fleet just finishing there. And there it is, race 6, the final race of the RYA eSAILING Winter Final, finished with a win in the final race for Mike O'Donovan. And soon Adam Parry will be giving us the overall results to see if it confirms what we thought, with Mike O'Donovan just keeping his cool there in that final race.
Should we bring our runner up in while we wait for those results? I think we've got Cavan still.
Cavan.
Yeah, I'm still here.
How was that final race? We saw a few ups and downs there.
Yeah, I should have taken the left-hand side on the first beat with Mike. But I thought I would stay out of trouble of everybody was pushing down to the pin end. I thought I'd stay out of trouble and tack off early into the shift, which paid off early, but then the shift came in, and Mike picked it up over on the left and didn't get enough over on the right, but picked up 5 or 6 or more on the way around the rest of the course. Just couldn't quite get to Paul at the end.
And Stu and I were just talking about how when you've got it's really tight at the top, do you separate away from the nearest your nearest competitors, or should you keep the tight cover? And you saying you should have gone left, so maybe you should have gone with him on that beat.
Yeah, I should have sat with him at the start line and maybe tried to push him out further left or something, or just get in his way on the start line. Mike's a hard man to beat. It's always tough competition with Mike.
And there we see the results are confirmed. In 3rd place, Paul McCombie, representing Scotland with 21 points. 2nd place, there you are, Cavan, representing Northern Ireland, Ballyholme Yacht Club with 15 points, but just a point ahead, and recovering with wins in the final 2 races. There it is, Mike O'Donovan, VIT Ronstand Deja Vu, representing the South, even if he is Scottish, taking the win in the RYA eSAILING Winter Final. It comes from 178 sailors, 71 clubs, down to these final 11. And here he is, Mike O'Donovan, the winner. Can we get him on the line at all, Adam?
I think we might have audio with Mike, yeah.
All right,
Mike,
is that working?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike. Congratulations.
Perfect.
You,
Thank you
after
very much.
that race 2 disaster, how did you feel?
It was a bit nerve-wracking. Obviously, yeah, you never want to disconnect in a race with only one in a series with only one discard. But yeah,
And
no,
also,
it is.
Mike,
Yeah.
in the stars, that 8th place, did you think it was all over Red Rover?
A little bit. I knew that I'd have to maybe push Cavan a bit hard because I was taking a little note of the scores beside me. I was like, depending on how race 5 went, I might have to push him pretty hard in race 6, maybe try to give him a 10 on the start. But thankfully, I managed to get to the lead in both races, and Cavan, I think, was over the line, in the 5th race, so that helped out. But no, it was a bit nerve-wracking.
And the 6th race, when you'd split directions, did you see that pressure coming in and thinking, happy days?
Yeah, I was like, all right, I wanna hit left here in the restart. I know I want to go left, but it'll only work if I get the if I win the pin. And so I think it was Justin pretty hard for that. And then yeah, managed to just get the shift, thankfully. I was a bit concerned halfway up the leg when it went back right a little, but no, it stayed left. So.
And was it your broadband failing or the university mates watching another Avengers film?
Oh, who knows? But no, I think it was the broadband. We've had some intermittency issues. So.
And Stu, how impressed were you with Mike's sailing there?
Yeah, I think you said awesome. Like you say, you got a discard handed to you, but you kept plugging away, and you see that so many times in real life. People that just keep plugging away, and it all comes good. And yeah, pretty impressive to win by 1 point, having won the last 2 races. So yeah, well done for holding your head there.
Thank you.
Well, Mike, congratulations. I know we've just run over our 1 hour slot for the time for this.
Okay.
And congratulations to all the competitors. To come from 780 sailors to reduce it down to the last 11 alone, just to get to that stage was brilliant. But then Mike O'Donovan's win, fantastic, winning the title, the RYA eSAILING Winter Champion. Stu, thank you very much for joining us from Lanzarote, and all the best with your training out there, and hope that everything goes well in the lead up to Tokyo 2020.
Congratulations again to Mike on his fantastic win. And if you'd like to try eSAILING, then head to the eSAILING page on the RYA website where you can find out how to get involved. Next up on the main stage, we have another show highlight, Dougal Henschel. So join us again in just a few minutes.